Welcome back, everyone, to the Burnout Club. This is a place where we explore burnout and success, one expert and experiment at a time. I'm your host, Patrice Bonfiglio, and today we are joined by Suzanne Stone. She is the president and CEO of Livestrong, and I cannot wait to dive into this conversation. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat today.
Yes, and for the listeners, we were supposed to do this back in 2024. I had a huge disaster. I had no power in my house. But I am actually happy that we're talking in 2025 instead, because Livestrong has done so much, and I see everything that you're talking about for the population that you serve. And I just think it's a great time to get out all of the messages and the programs that you're working on. So why don't we backtrack for a second, and then you can tell us a little bit about you and about Livestrong.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes the universe has a funny way of working. So I think this is a perfect time. There's a lot going on for sure. I've been in the social impact world for almost 30 years. So you can do some math there and figure that out. I even had a professional life before that. So there's all kinds of stuff happening. But my personal passion is to create impact at scale. I intersect mostly with people. So I love plants and animals also. I rescue them. I plant them. I have too many fish and a cat, and I have more plants than absolutely necessary for sure. But when it comes to, like, if I had $1 to give to an organization to make an impact, it would be to people. So and everybody has a different one, but I'm a people person, and I've really dedicated my life and work to the social impact space. So that's really where I am today. I joined Livestrong about 6 years ago, 5.5. Again, math is not something that I like to do with years involved. So we'll round around 6 years ago or so. I joined Livestrong right before the pandemic and came on as the chief mission officer, focused on strategy and really taking our organization and figuring out what we could do today and how we could change and improve the quality of life for anyone affected by cancer. That's where we are today. We're doing a lot of things in our organization to not just meet people where they are, but instead prepare for where they're going to be, understanding this really quickly changing social environment that we're in.
Yes. Yeah. I'm on the same page there. So I think it's fascinating just to pick your brain about going into an organization that's already a household name. So do you find that helps propel the programming that you're coming up with, or is it something that you really have to navigate around? How do you deal with that?
It's really two things. It's good and bad. So the first thing, if there are any entrepreneurs listening, you'll know that brand recognition is the barrier, one of the primary barriers to success. Yeah. And we're very fortunate in that I walked into this role. So I've been president and CEO now for 18 months or so. Again, math, about 18 months,
No more math.
No more math. I'm not doing it. We're going to do it later, but, so I've been CEO for about 18 months. And the thing that I find with our particular brand is, one, it opens a lot of doors for me, which is fantastic. And that's not for a personal gain. It's for the organization. I'm able to send an email, make a phone call, take a meeting. People understand, at least at the core, who Livestrong is and mostly what we do. So they recognize the name. So I think that that's a great thing. The challenge around people recognizing the name is they have some preconceptions about who we are and what we do. And they're not always accurate. So there has to be a little bit of time spent in education. But I will say that I'm really working my dream job right now. This is something that I wrote down on a piece of paper 15 years ago, actually.
Really?
It was like somebody asked me what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I said, the thing that I would love to do is to be able to lead a national nonprofit. And that's what I'm really fortunate to be able to do.
That's so nice to hear. I think sometimes we have to have good messages. And so everyone writing down those dream jobs and doing the vision boards, it can happen. It
really can. Yeah, really can.
Yeah. Now, what was your, turning point that led you to this particular job?
I'm 55 and I'm so lucky to be here. I'm so lucky to be 55 and get to experience what this is. So there's a lot of turning points that I could point to, but I think one of the most recent and one that I really say that 15 years ago when I said, this is what I want to do, I was working for court-appointed special advocates. And if you don't know that organization, it is an organization that impacts directly children who are in state care because their parent or caregivers are no longer able to take care of them. The state has removed them from their homes. So these are children in crisis. It's an incredibly impactful organization, still very close to my heart. So if anybody's looking for some really powerful work to do, I really encourage you to go check out CASA.
Yeah.
So it's in every state, almost every state. So I was working for CASA, and one of the challenges of this, I was living in a little tiny town, and we were working so hard. And you can only serve like one child at a time or one family group of children at a time, because this is a lot of work, and I won't go into it, but it's a lot of work emotionally.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody who's doing it is a volunteer. There are some staff members, but I was working for them as a volunteer first. And then I loved it so much, I came on as a staff member and quit my other job and came on as a staff member. And what I realized really quickly was that my impact was really small. I was impacting one kiddo at a time. And not that that wasn't important, but for me, all I kept asking was like, I'm not really changing the world.
Yeah.
And I'm impacting this one kiddo, super important. And I wear starfish. There's starfish. You're literally starfish all over my world.
Yes.
And they represent the kiddos whose lives I was able to touch. So when you see a starfish with Suzanne, that's what this is, a physical memory for me. And I realized that I needed to do something. I needed to change the way I was thinking so that I could have impact at scale. So we could do a whole podcast about that, but that was really the turning point for me when I realized that it wasn't important for me anymore for people to know that it was me making the impact.
Yeah.
As important as it was for me to achieve impact at scale. So I don't care if anybody knows that I lead Livestrong. What's important to me is that I believe that there are hundreds of thousands of people out there who every day benefit from decisions that we're making in our office today. And that's impact at scale. So that's that turning point for me.
Oh, yeah. And I think regardless of industry, there's that idea or concept of what do I really want? And is this the scale that I want to do it at? And that's a valid question for everyone to ask themselves. You know, is this actually the right niche or scale for me?
And there's no wrong answer to that one. You know, I think if you're able to just set your ego on a shelf someplace over there while you make this logical decision instead of an emotional one, it's really amazing what it can open up for you.
Yeah, it can morph over time. Now that you've been in this role for a while now, what is your most, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of when the phone rings or I get an email and someone I don't know says thank you for something I didn't know I did.
Nope.
You know, like, I have a child because of the fertility program. I was able to get in the clinical trial because you pointed me in the right direction. Things like that. There are these little micro moments in time. You inspired me to do a thing. I didn't know I did that. And then they went off and did the thing. And so I can't really point to one thing, but I would say it's the little micro things that I'm most proud of is when that impact at scale piece where I say it doesn't matter to me. You know, if they know who I am, it's when they come back to me unsolicited and say thank you. Those are the moments that I'm most proud of.
Yeah. And it becomes personal again. That's so sweet.
Does. It becomes personal again. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, that maybe doesn't know the breadth of the offering, can you just walk us through what you want everyone to know?
About Livestrong? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our mission is to improve the quality of life for anyone affected by cancer. We do that in a number of ways. Our fertility discount program is one. So if you're diagnosed with cancer, you have a finite amount of time to make a decision about whether or not you want to have children, even if you're 19 years old and have no idea, right? Or 35 years old or anywhere in between. We've got a network of clinics, over 150 clinics all across the country that we work with to provide deep discounts, connections, and ways to preserve your fertility. That's a core.
That's huge.
Resource support. So this is another big one. 27 years ago, Livestrong created patient navigation. Today, patient navigation is in every single doctor's office and certainly every oncologist's office.
Yeah.
Today, we call it resource support. We've just created the very first AI-powered cancer survivorship companion.
Oh, wow.
Think ChatGPT or Claude meets our guidebook, which is, I just got diagnosed. I have no idea what to do. What I will tell you what not to do is don't Google. Stop that. Yeah. Stop it. Don't do it. I know you want to, but don't do it. Don't do it. So instead, we want you to Livestrong. So go to livestrong.org or download Ellis. Ellis is Ellis. So download Ellis. She's our companion. She has a favorite color. You can ask her about her favorite dog. But what you will find is that Ellis is a little bit of a reflection of me in there because I may have taught it everything it knows. But
that human touch is good.
Got to have the human touch. So resource support. So when somebody calls us, reaches out and says, hey, I don't know how to pay my rent this month because I paid my medical bill instead or my prescriptions or whatever it is.
Yeah.
While we're not the ones directly paying that bill or providing the support, what we do is aggregate and understand who in our space is providing those resources that you can trust.
Yeah.
Who is a vetted resource. Because what we want to make sure is that nobody is relying on apple cider vinegar or Facebook facts to make decisions. So we want to empower you with evidence-based, empathetic conversations and information to help you make a great decision for you and your quality of life. We also have an exercise program. So exercise oncology is a big piece. We've got Cancer Fit, Livestrong at the Y. We're going to get you strong again, healthy again, to be able to do whatever it is you want to do, whether that's walk your daughter down the aisle or watch your kid at the baseball game or just walk around the block, whatever that is, or run a 10K. We need to get you strong again. It reduces your recurrence rate and so many side effects that happen as a result of treatment for cancer. So those are just a highlight of some of the things we've just published a children's book for kiddos K through 2.
Oh.
We've got education. We've got the only curriculum for K through 12 for teachers, coaches, parents to be able to talk to kids about what cancer is not, and how to intersect with that. So that's just a highlight of kind of some of the things that we do on a daily basis.
I just love the variety. You're meeting everyone where they are, and that can be confused, scared, inundated, right? It's just, whether you're young and the role in the family, whether you're the patient or the caretaker or the family members, the children. I love what you do. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And you're right. Because it's anyone affected by cancer, which means literally anyone adjacent to it, because the caregiver, the parent, the next door neighbor, the coworker, the classmate, they're all affected.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, right? Like the neighbor, the coworker, the classmate. So, when we think about the AI chatbot, so anyone can download that and ask for recommendations or suggestions.
Absolutely, anyone. It's if you jump up on our desktop, up on your laptop or tablet, you can get it there, and it's livestrong.org, and you'll see Ellis, and you can ask it questions. It speaks Spanish. You can actually have a conversation with it out loud. And you can also get it on the Apple App Store. Oh, it's not ready. It's not ready for Android just yet. Android users, I'm so sorry. We're trying. There's a lot of phones. Did you know that? I didn't know that, but there are a lot of operating systems outside of the iPhone, and that takes a lot of development. So as fast as I can raise money is as fast as building the app for iPhones. But we're absolutely. So you'll see us on TikTok. That's where we're bringing Ellis is out on TikTok, because to my point earlier, that's where the cancer community is really connecting, and we need to be there.
Oh,
Who knew? It's a thing. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm not. But
yeah,
my son is 25. I use him as my litmus test all the time.
yeah.
And TikTok has 76% of the 18 to 35. I'm sorry, the 15 to 35-year-old population.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge market share. So that's where everybody is, and that's where we need to be to provide answers for everybody.
Yeah, that's a good reality check for anyone in business, or if you're serving a population, that's where they are. You have to go there. They
are. Yeah, love it or not, that's where they are.
Yeah, and on the personal side, I reached out to you just because I'm a caretaker to my mother and my brother, and while they don't have cancer, they have different conditions. It's a lot of work navigating programs, changes, impact. So let's dive in, right? So there's changes happening with the big, beautiful bill. You had a very concise write-up of what questions you need to ask as a patient or caregiver to understand what's going on and whether you're impacted, and also what you can do. Do you mind walking through that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to do that. And I'm really appreciative of you reaching out for us to be able to have this conversation, because I think one of the things that I want everybody to know is that we have to try to not be fearful. And the only way to combat fear, in my opinion, is with knowledge. Yeah. So, I mean, the cancer community specifically is collectively freaking out, is the word that I'll use, for good reason. But it's not just the cancer community, right? It's anyone who is like yourself in a situation where they're caring for, or they may be somebody who has a medical situation that is requiring them to receive Medicaid. So let's walk through. I've taken time to I've learned more about Medicaid than I ever planned on ever learning, but
well, thank you for that.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is, let's walk through kind of what this section of the bill is about, what it says and what it means, and what you need to know as a caregiver or somebody who's affected. So the bill is massive. It's almost 900 pages. Don't read it all. I guess you could, but I don't know that that's a good plan. But this particular section is section 10,002 of this bill, just for reference. And if anybody has any questions on it, if you find me on LinkedIn, you'll see I'm quoting the exact verbiage. So I'm not making it up or summarizing or inferring. I'm quoting exactly. So I'm going to read it really quick. So I have a cheat screen. So, cause I didn't memorize this. So this section says able-bodied adults without dependents work requirement. So this is, in order to receive Medicaid, we now have a requirement that people are going to have to work. So I want to break down what this says. This is the quote. As a condition of eligibility for medical assistance under this title, that's Medicaid, a state shall require that, and we're going to come back to that right in a minute, that a state shall require that, subject to subsection B, which we'll talk about, an individual who is an able-bodied, I'm using air quotes if you're not watching me, who is an able-bodied adult without dependents shall, again, as determined by the state, engage in work as defined by the state, participate in job training, or perform community service for not less than 80 hours per month. That's a lot of hours. We're talking about 20 hours a week.
Yes.
So I want to go through the exclusions. So first, before everybody absolutely loses their mind, the first thing you need to know is, if you are under 19 or over 64 and receiving Medicaid, this does not apply to you.
Right.
So you're exempt, so breathe. If you are pregnant, this does not apply to you. Now, we also know that pregnancy is not a permanent condition. So I would still say pay attention because you will be unpregnant at some point. Right. If you are also exempt if you are a parent or caretaker of a child under 6. So if I don't know why 6.
Yeah.
That's a mystery to me. But if you are caring for a child under 6, you're exempt. or a dependent with a disability, meaning you have somebody who depends on you who has a disability. When we talk about these things, and we won't, have time to go through the whole thing, but I want to make sure that you think about the words that they're using here, because the definition is going to vary by state, and we're going to talk about that. So disability is another word that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Another exemption is medically frail, and then in quotation marks, as determined by the state.
That's broad.
That's broad, and it's very subjective, and we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Right? In school or higher education. Okay. Now, this is interesting. In school, what does that mean? In high school? In training tech school? What school? What qualifies at school? Is not defined in the statute. Or higher education. I suppose that means master's, doctorate, right? I'm assuming. Number 6 is in a substance use treatment program.
Okay.
So if you happen to be a recovering addict of anything that's a substance, not gambling, not a non-substance addiction, this doesn't apply to you. But also remember, it's like being pregnant. You're not in there forever.
Right.
You should still understand what this means. And then finally, if you're a veteran, none of this applies to you.
Okay.
Just across the board. So that's a lot of information. And so what I want to do is really break that down so that we understand what it really means and what you need to know as somebody who may be receiving Medicaid right now and how this is going to affect you.
Yeah.
The first thing to understand is what able-bodied means and medically frail means. This is, you remember we said state. The state defines. So able-bodied, remember, if we go back to what I said earlier, able-bodied is somebody who is between the ages of 19 and 64, who has no dependents.
Yeah.
That is an able-bodied person. So if you are receiving Medicaid and you're between the ages of 19 and 64, okay, you check that box. You need to keep listening.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So now it is up to the state is this next piece, right? So it says engage in work as defined by the state. Every state, with the exception of Indiana, and we'll talk about Indiana, every state has fairly ambiguous rules around this. About 5 years ago or so, Arkansas actually tested this rule.
Oh, did they? Okay.
They did. When they did, 18,000 people lost their Medicaid benefits.
Okay.
Almost instantly. Most of them were not working. It wasn't that they weren't following the rules, it's that they didn't understand how to report.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's a complexity in reporting. Yeah.
Correct. The state of Indiana is really interesting. This is a very bright red state, by the way. But what they've done right here is it's very clear. So to be eligible for Medicaid in Indiana, you have a condition, whatever the condition is, and you receive points for that condition. Unemployed you get some points. If you have cancer, you get some points. If you have whatever, you get some points. Once you hit 150 points, you're eligible for full Medicaid benefits. So at least it's clear. At least it's clear. Whether you
gamified.
Whether you it's a gamified Medicaid. So whether or not you agree on how the points are distributed is not is not what I'm focusing on there. But what I'm focusing on there is at least it's clear. So you understand.
You know how many points you get and whether or not you qualify.
And so there's a few things that you need to understand here. It depends on the state you live in as to whether or not you're going to qualify for Medicaid, period. It also is going to depend on the state you live in as to how often you're going to need to report, how you report, and what the deadlines are for that reporting.
Wow. There's so much more to go over, but I just have a question that pops in my mind. So are all the states going to have their information ready at the same time for their constituents?
Right? So the states are now required to report to the federal government every 6 months, beginning December of 2026. That is a year and a half from now.
Right.
But feels like a long time, but let's back time that.
Okay.
Right? So, okay, great. So every state has to file their very first report with the federal government by December. And we just learned, and also in this rule, is that you have to report at least every 6 months. I didn't even quote that one because we don't have enough time, right?
Yeah.
So the reporting piece on this, and if you jump to my LinkedIn page, you can see I'm writing about it all the time now to try to help explain what's going on.
Yeah.
But the states are required to report to the Fed at least every 6 months about who they're supporting, how many people are on Medicaid, and how many people are following these new rules.
Yeah.
That means they need information from you at least every 6 months. My instinct says they're going to ask for it more often than every 6 months. Likely, you should be prepared for a monthly reporting. That would be my guess. But so if the first reporting to the federal government is in December of 2026, let's back up a few months and know that they're going to have to collect information. We know how fast government moves. So I would say realistically, they're probably going to need that information in the summer. So like a year from now, to be able to compile it and get it to the Fed in time. That's fair. So let's say that it's 6 months. They're 6 months behind. So their reporting is 6 months behind what they actually receive, which seems like a reasonable amount of time. So that means that we're sitting right now in July of when we're talking, July of 2025. We're a year away from the time that you have to report for the first time.
Yeah.
Let's back up, because if you only report every 6 months, you're going to have reported your monthly work, right? Or training or whatever for 80 hours for the 6 months prior to July, which means in January, you're going to need to figure this out. So here's how I'm coaching our cancer community to get ready, to be prepared, and no matter where state they live in. First, go to your doctor and discuss with them if I am medically frail. The definition of medically frail is also up to each state. Here's an opportunity if you're an advocate and you're listening and you're, fairly agitated by this whole thing. In the cancer community, we are going to literally every single state and asking them to specifically identify cancer patients in active treatment as people who are just defined as medically frail.
Yes. Okay.
So you're going to need to talk with your doctor and make sure that you and he understand, at least from his perspective or her perspective, what medically frail means, and be sure to document that. Get it in writing, right?
Good suggestion. Yeah.
So let's say that you do that, but the state decides at some point in the next 4 months that you're not medically frail.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to figure out how you're supposed to work for 20 hours a week. That's hard. So it says work, volunteer, or be in job trainings 80 hours a month. So you need to think. Don't panic, but think to yourself, okay, are there volunteer opportunities for me that I can do with the challenges that I'm currently facing?
Yeah.
If I don't get the exemption.
And just for all of the listeners, if you have a business, if you have a volunteer organization, any sort of group, if there is the opportunity for you to have a program and post it for people to volunteer, that could be very helpful. Something, preferably that, in your case, someone who's going through cancer treatment could potentially do. That's a low lift.
Absolutely. Patrice, I love that. And especially for our for-profit community out there,
Yeah.
When we think about volunteering, we always think about the social impact sector. We always think about the nonprofit sector. But is that necessarily true? Could we, as a for-profit world, come up with volunteer opportunities that allow people who are not physically able to come into an office, right? Or do something physical in any way, but are not going to be exempt because of this rule? Is there a way that we can help them and provide them with opportunities that satisfies this requirement? So this is something that if you are a clinician and if you're in healthcare in any way, one way that you can help is to be prepared with your patients and learn early what those deadlines are. Put together some forms. Pay attention to what your state believes is medically frail and make sure that the patients that you care for who fit that definition have the paperwork that they need in time, and tell them the red tape associated with this is heavy, but it's not on the clinics. It's not heavy on the clinics. It's not heavy really even on the state. The heaviest burden is falling on the individual who is probably sick and probably not able to truly be able to understand. So if you have cancer or you are caring for somebody with a disease and they are not able to really do a great job of keeping track of time and deadlines because they're focused on healing, or they just don't have everything together, then you can help them understand deadlines, remind them of that. So if you're in a clinical practice, I really encourage you to do that. That will help so many people who you're treating to be able to get the care that they need through Medicaid.
Yeah. I love the tangible action items for the whole community.
Yeah, there's so much that we can do. There really is. For us, for me, for Livestrong, and so many other organizations that sit in our space, we are literally going to go state by state, talk to all of those reps and see what we can do to get language that is patient-centered into that, into the state's definition of what medically frail is, so that we can ensure that people who cannot engage and cannot work 80 hours a week or volunteer or anything 80 hours a week have the ability to heal instead of attempt to work in order to get the benefits that they need. Most people who need benefits, Medicaid benefits, it's temporary. And a lot of them need them because of the disease that they had no role in contracting.
Right.
So whether that's they were in an accident, or they have sickle cell, or they have cancer, they didn't do anything to acquire this disease. And now they are subject to this. So we need to help them as much as we can and make sure that we're taking proactive actions to keep everybody in our communities informed.
Absolutely. You highlight everything in a consumable way. And it's hard, I think, what's the rule? People need to hear something, 6 or 7 times for it to fully absorb. But it's a good just spotlight to say, hey, at least find out, pay attention, know whether anything's changing for you or your family members or anyone that you're taking care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to absolutely offer up Livestrong. So we will be keeping track of every single state. It will be up on our site. What's important to know is that while we're focused on cancer, you may be dealing with something completely different, right? And if you're dealing with something that's different, we're still going to have this every state and what those statutes are on our site as they start to come out. So you're always welcome to come and use Livestrong as a very trusted resource, because what we're going to show you and tell you is fact, not assumptions. It will only be fact, because that's the space that I require us to live in. And so you can trust the information that comes out. So if you have a disease, if something happens to you and you lose your job because of that disease, and you're forced to receive Medicaid, you shouldn't be penalized because you have this disease. You just shouldn't be. And so we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we can empower our community to get the help that they need for the period of time in which they need it so they can heal and not worry about the red tape that's happening on the other side.
That it's such a great reminder that all of the dates and the regulation that you're posting, they will apply to every illness.
Every illness.
And that's why you popped in my mind of like, I need to find someone who's organized, that is reading through all this material.
Yeah.
And, because from my perspective, caretaker burnout is real and it is so prevalent. And you know what? I was, busy enough as is with all of the forms and the appointments. So this is something to add to the list, but I do feel grateful that there are people rallying around solutions and information and trusted guidance. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, you're really welcome. And, I know as a caregiver, you are faced with a mountain of bureaucracy just to get what you need today. Just to get what you need today, which is so bananas. And for the community that listens and follows you, Patrice, and identifies with you, I just want to say to all of you on behalf of the entire planet, I'm so sorry that it's like that. This is my small contribution to hopefully being able to contribute to peace of mind, right? So look at those exceptions, understand that there are some exceptions, which is great. Yeah. And otherwise there are people. I'm not the only one out here who's working hard to understand this and then untangle it and figure out how can we help states help the people who live there, because we don't want your zip code to determine your quality of life.
That's powerful. And, I'm glad that we had this conversation, and I want to ask the question, just what are you excited about for the future, either for Livestrong or yourself or something on a macro scale, but let's ride out into a hopeful lens. Yeah.
Hopeful lens. The things that I'm excited about, I'm excited about, I'm an optimist. So it's very hard to get me to doom and gloom very often.
Yeah.
What I'm really hopeful for and excited about, that while this bill is challenging because there's a lot of pieces in this that are complicated, confusing, and will affect people in a myriad of ways, good and bad, which is why it's big.
Yeah.
I believe that we have this really unique opportunity as Americans to come together and say, this isn't about politics. This is about people.
Yeah.
And when we understand the rules, we're in a better place to fight for ourselves and for those who don't have the ability to fight for whatever reason. So I'm optimistic that this actually will serve as a place to unite us instead of divide us, in a way that I've watched people for decades heal through action. So something bad happens to you, and part of the way that we see people heal is by taking action. And I see millions of people taking action today, saying, as a result of this, and not just section 10,002, lots of the different sections, and saying, wait a minute, hold on. I don't know that this is what I'm buying. I don't know that this is what I signed up for. And to be able to say, I can have an impact, and I can make change. I'm hopeful that this will unite us in efforts to ensure that people first, if we put the person first when we make policy, it becomes compassionate.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hopeful for. Personally, I'm headed to Berlin in September to support a bunch of Livestrong riders. They're doing runners. They're doing the Berlin Marathon.
Yeah.
And I've never been to Berlin, so I'm really excited about Berlin. My son is getting his master's degree in December in ocean engineering. So I'm saving people. He's saving the ocean. Yeah. Life is good. It's really hard. It's really challenging. And Not
Mhm.
every day is 100% day, but
Yeah.
and any day I get to wake up, I'm really grateful for.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I can't end the podcast before just asking you, with such a big job and important work, how do you actually either unwind or revitalize yourself? Like in a meaningful way that makes you feel good and ready to tackle more.
I spend time alone, which
Mhm.
sounds maybe crazy, but
No, not to me.
I spend time alone. So, for example, I've created a life for myself and a culture within our work, and those who work with me at Livestrong,
Mhm.
that it is a life. This idea of life work balance is bananas because they're they're forever intermeshed. You can't
Yeah.
separate one from the other, and certainly in a role like this, there is no separation from that. I
Yeah.
wear my wristband all the time, everywhere I go, whether it's Saturday at 2 or to the movies at night, like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. And so, for example, tomorrow, which happens to be a Friday, I'm
Mhm.
going in the afternoon at 2 o'clock. I'll be surfing at a surf park in Waco.
Woo! Love that.
Why? Yeah, because I need to preserve that, that sense of self for me. So if
Yeah.
Saturday at 2, I'm working, that's
Hmm.
fine. Like finding the balance there. My goal every month is, well, it's not a goal. It's something I require of myself. I
Okay.
require of myself that I do something new that I've never done before every single month.
Yes.
And and what that helps me do is truly create new pathways in my brain. I learn new things. I learn how to think differently. And
Mhm.
that really helps me get inspired
Yeah.
and do a better job when I flip open my laptop or I walk into the meeting
Hmm.
and I take a deep breath and say, man, I sat for 4 hours a few weeks ago on this potter's wheel and just absolutely destroyed clay for 4 hours. Also, if you have fingernails as a woman, not the thing to do, by the way. It's not a thing. Like you're not,
Yeah.
but how fun. And
Mhm.
that's when I'm super present doing something that has nothing to do with my job, but has
Mhm.
everything to do with my growth,
Yeah.
then I feel renewed and ready to go.
It is such good advice. And I recently started doing that every month, something new. I could be horrible at it. And I agree with you. I'm horrible at pottery. It just didn't work out.
No,
that is how I started this whole podcast and experiment. Um,
amazing.
yeah, but it gave me what I need. I needed some time to disconnect, just focus on what I was doing in front of me and nothing else and restore myself. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to create a challenge from every podcast episode for the listeners and myself. So challenge is every month, try something brand new.
Brand
Doesn't
new.
matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you love it at the end. Just experience something new. And as a bonus challenge, maybe experience something on the advocacy front. So,
Yeah.
get involved and help out with what's
Yeah.
happening with the bill in the community.
I would say one of the challenges and something new you can do. Most people have never written their congressman or
Oh,
congresswoman.
yeah.
Most people have never even sent an email to them.
Yeah.
Send one. Because guess what? It's not hard. It takes 10 minutes and you'll be surprised at how good you feel. You're like, oh my gosh.
I did
And
something.
I did something. Also,
Mhm.
they tend to respond. You never know.
Do they? Oh,
They
I
do.
would not have
They do.
expected that. Oh,
They
that's
do.
great.
They
And
tend
I
to
bet,
respond.
do you have templates or anything for someone that's
Huh.
interested?
Well, if you follow me long enough on LinkedIn, yes. So yeah, in just a couple days, you'll see another post up there, which is
Hmm.
templates, what to say for this
Hmm.
particular thing. But
Yeah.
absolutely, we've got templates. Here's some things here's what you could actually copy and paste.
Yeah.
That it's not about politics. It's not about I don't care what party you voted for. I really
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care because
Yeah.
cancer doesn't care. Diabetes doesn't care.
Certainly
Mental
not.
health doesn't care. No, it doesn't matter. Well,
Yeah.
what matters is the person. So yeah, we'll have templates up there and you can always reach out and like I said, go to Livestrong. We'll help you. We're building that out on our advocacy side because obviously this is still brand new as we're talking today.
Yeah.
But it'll be up there soon, and it'll be up on my LinkedIn page sooner than that. So
that's fantastic. So
yeah,
all the listeners, write to your congressperson and go surfing or do something.
Yeah,
something out of you.
I'm taking a bartending class in a couple of weeks.
Another great suggestion. Do that too.
Yeah, never know. Should be fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So thank you, Suzanne. You brought such a wealth of knowledge and also a vitality to the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for giving a voice to people who are tired.
Yes, that I can do. I get it, and I am trying to do that. So, for all those listeners that are tired and feeling burned out, then this episode is for you. And thank you for listening. Bye, everyone.